You're having to shoot in a weird angle and you're like, meh, meh, ah, and everything's freaking out. What do you think is gonna happen with your grip? You wanna check your torque tune. And that torque tune is the relationship between your sight and your rest. It's gonna be how forgiving your grip is. So for example, you can grab a bow and I can torque it to the left, literally torque it to where it's almost gonna derail. I recenter my peep with my sight and it'll still hit the dot, which is pretty amazing. If you are torque tuning and you torque it to the left, recenter your peep with your housing and you hit to the left, which would be the way you're torquing it in this direction, then what you need to do is expand your sight further from your rest. The opposite is true. So if you twist it to the left, recenter, and you hit to the right, then you need to bring your sight closer or your rest closer. You want to check this. I think it's very, very, very important. We're going to try it out and see what happens. We're going to have to re-sight it in. Okay, too far to the right. Okay, now it is close enough. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot a shot down there with no torquing of my bow on purpose at all. What I would consider perfect form. Then the next shot, when I'm full draw, I'm gonna grab my riser and crank it to the left like this. Keep it cranked almost to the point to where it's gonna derail my bow, and I'm gonna recenter my housing with my peep and then see if it hits to the left or to the right. This is the control. So we want this to hit the dot. Your first time doing this, don't over torque. Try to move your stabilizer 2 inches, because if you try to over torque, it could damage your cam, it could derail your bow explodes. So be cautious that you don't go too crazy. And I'm not gonna aim any different. As soon as I go full draw, I'm cranking the bow and then I'm gonna recenter my peep with my housing and put the dot in the middle and then execute my shot. And what we're hoping, it will hit in the same dot within an inch. So let's see. Here we go. All right, so I'm anchoring. Now I'm gonna twist. So did you see that? Now I'm twisting and I'm holding it twisted. So I got this thing torqued. And it's right there in the dot. Watching that should blow your mind because most people don't do that with their bow. Again, the reason why it worked the first time to where I could hit the dot is because I know for me, I run my rest as far forward as I can and my sight as far back as I can. This is exactly what you want. Don't worry about where it is in the dot. The fact that one shot was a perfect shot and the second shot, you saw me cranking my bow. And again, what that is simulating is actually pretty cool. When you got a buck of a lifetime and you're in a tree stand and you're having to shoot in a weird angle and you're like, meh, meh, and you're like, ah, and everything's freaking out, what do you think is gonna happen with your grip? Do you think your grip's gonna be nice and soft and relaxed? And he stops on his own, you have no panic and you execute a perfect shot? No, it's gonna be chaos, especially upstairs. Adrenaline's induced, you're gonna be holding the bow different because you're angled down, everything's gonna be different. In a normal situation, if you don't torque tune your bow, you will not get results like this. What'll happen is you will get freaking massive hits left or right. And if you've hunted long enough, you've shot bows that don't torque tune well, or you don't torque tune at all, and you don't understand. Every time you get on an animal and you shoot, you hit him back. You're like, I shot him in the guts. What the heck? He was 20 yards. And so that's really where the scenario comes in, is when stress is induced. Everything's gonna be different. So let's take a second and go through torque tuning as if this didn't just happen on the first try. Say you torque it to the left. Let's say your impact is way over here, okay? And then you torque it to the right and it's way over here, or vice versa. Say you torque it to the left and it hits on the right, and you torque it to the right and it hits on the left. What you're gonna wanna do, adjust your sight forward and backward until both of them hit exactly how mine hit, which you guys saw earlier. Each bow might be a little bit different. Everyone's gonna be a little bit different, but the general rule of thumb is to bring the sight closer to your rest. A dovetail system that you can move it forward and backwards is really the easiest, because you'll just do detent to detent until it hits perfect. So you may have to adjust peep sizes depending on where your scope ends up. So a lot of people will set their scope exactly where they want it and then adjust their rest. With these rigs, I just don't have a lot of room to work with this style of rest anyway. So I always run my rest as far forward as possible. Otherwise I get a little bit, but a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch can go a long ways with this, guys. So don't necessarily think you need huge margins of movement in order to get, noticeable changes. It really doesn't take as much as you think.